What's up, everybody? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to cover a couple of different topics. We're going to look at some good news out in Detroit, Michigan. We're going to talk about the EV situation and how the China tariffs are affecting EV companies on the other side of the world. We're also going to talk about Fain, the UAW president, as it were, that was in the big brouhaha with the big three. Now he is in another big brouhaha of his own personal doing. So, first up, we're going to jump into some good news. Some really good news. Out in Detroit, GM, one of the big three, is building another factory. Let's check it out. All right, so of course, we're going to check out Automotive News, our favorite source for automotive news. GM supplier to invest $390 million in new Michigan plant factory expansions. G-Stamp is building a $64.5 million, 450,000 square foot plant in suburban Detroit to support GM. The plant is expected to create 390 jobs. Hope it'd make more than that, but that's cool. All right. Spanish automotive supplier G-Stamp is planning to invest $390.2 million and create up to 580 new jobs in Michigan, including a new Chesterfield Township plant to supply General Motors. G-Stamp, whose North American headquarters is in the Detroit suburb of Troy, Michigan, is building a $64.5 million, 450,000 square foot plant in nearby Chesterfield Township, Michigan, which is expected to create 390 jobs, as Cranes reported in February. Additionally, G-Stamp is renovating and expanding plants in Chelsea, Mason, and Lapeer, with new jobs expected to pay an average wage of $28.14. Not bad. According to a briefing from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the company's investment is being supported by a $5 million performance-based grant and a 15-year, 100% SESA tax exemption worth up to $6 million, approved Tuesday by the Michigan Strategic Fund. G-Stamp is among the world's largest body-in white and chassis suppliers with more than 100 plants in 24 countries. In Chesterfield, the company will occupy a build-to-suit plant already under development on a 42-acre plot at 52153 Sierra Drive in Chesterfield Township. The plant allows for a 300,000 square foot future expansion, according to project details provided to the county. Workers at the factory will weld steel blanks to make assemblies for electric vehicles at GM's Orion Assembly. The automaker delayed production of the Chevrolet Silverado EV and GMC Sierra EV at the assembly plant to late 2025 due largely to softer than anticipated demand. The incentive request will help address the cost disadvantage of locating the project in Michigan when compared to the competing sites in the southern United States, the MEDC said in the memo. The incentive request will help offset the cost of constructing a new manufacturing facility in Chesterfield while investing in the three other facilities, ultimately allowing the company to continue being a strong employer in the region. All right. So, let's do it like this. So, I mean, this is great news. Shout out to Detroit. They've been doing great things, specifically in the automotive industry, but all the way around, they've changed the way Detroit has been viewed, the way Detroit is. So this is a perfect opportunity. G-Stamp is taking advantage of all of the great things that Detroit and the surrounding areas have done to the area. All of the investments that the big three have made to Detroit and the surrounding areas. So they're just taking advantage. They see an opportunity. They see a place that's good for business. They see a place that's going to thrive. They see a place that where they're going to have ample amounts of employees to look at to fulfill these positions, as well as Michigan has lost some jobs at some factories in Michigan. So this is a good thing. Some of those factory workers should have the opportunity to get into some of these positions, so they don't leave too much difference in the way they were living. So this is a fantastic thing. Shout outs to Detroit, Michigan. Shout out to G-Stamp. Shout out to GM, bringing more jobs, because the automotive industry definitely needs them. It's been painful. We spent way too much time talking about all the layoffs at the factories in Michigan, Wisconsin, all around the world. And we know that it had a lot to do with the Big Three contract dispute with UAW. So let's continue. We'll get to that as well. So next up, not too long ago we were talking about BYD. BYD is a big China EV company. The President Biden levied a 100% tariff on them because of all of the market share that the EV companies in China are taking away from the Big Three and all the other companies here in the United States. So BYD decided that they was going to figure out another way around this China tariff and keep it moving. So let's check that out. And thankfully this is a video, so we're going to check out a quick video, and we'll probably do some reading too. You know how much I love to read.
BYD, the world's leading manufacturer of electric and hybrid vehicles, is expanding its global reach with a $1 billion investment in a new factory in Turkey. The move comes as the European Union implements new tariffs on Chinese-made EVs, which BYD, along with other Chinese manufacturers, is hoping to avoid. The new plant in Turkey is projected to begin production by the end of 2026. It is expected to produce 150,000 electric and hybrid vehicles annually, significantly bolstering BYD's European presence. The factory will create approximately 5,000 jobs in Turkey, demonstrating BYD's commitment to the local economy. Turkey's unique status as part of the EU's customs union allows vehicles manufactured there to enter the EU market without tariffs. This strategic move is a clever way for BYD to sidestep the EU's tariffs, giving them a competitive edge in the European market. BYD's decision to build in Turkey is a testament to the company's forward-thinking approach to global expansion. They are not only seeking to increase their market share, but also to secure their position as a key player in the rapidly evolving automotive industry. BYD's aggressive expansion strategy is a significant challenge to Tesla, which has been vying for the top spot in the global EV market. While Tesla has its own global manufacturing presence, BYD's ability to navigate trade barriers effectively could give them a competitive advantage. The move to Turkey is not BYD's only expansionary move. They are also setting up factories in Hungary, Thailand, and Mexico, demonstrating their global ambitions. By strategically placing their factories around the world, BYD aims to minimize the impact of tariffs and expand into new markets. This approach could see them become a major player in the global EV market, challenging Tesla's current dominance. BYD's aggressive strategy, coupled with their innovative technology and product offerings, positions them as a serious contender in the automotive industry. It remains to be seen how Tesla will respond to BYD's expansion, but it's clear that the competitive landscape is changing rapidly. This move by BYD could usher in a new era of global competition in the EV market. As BYD continues to grow and expand, it's likely that we will see further disruptions in the automotive industry. BYD's success in Turkey is a testament to their commitment to innovation and their ability to adapt to changing market dynamics. It will be interesting to see how this move plays out in the long term and whether it will help BYD achieve its goal of becoming a global EV leader. The impact of BYD's factory in Turkey could be far-reaching, affecting not only the European EV market, but also the global landscape. It is a reminder of the
Let's stop there for a second. So, matter of fact, let's go to continue. I'll talk about it after it's all over.
Dynamic nature of the automotive industry and the increasing competition from Chinese manufacturers. BYD's expansion in Turkey could have significant implications for the Turkish economy, creating new jobs and boosting the local manufacturing sector. It could also potentially strengthen Turkey's position as a hub for automotive production in the region. BYD's success in Turkey could also have a ripple effect on other countries, potentially encouraging more Chinese companies to invest in global manufacturing. The Turkish government is clearly welcoming BYD's investment, seeing it as an opportunity to attract foreign investment and diversify its economy. BYD's decision to build in Turkey is a sign of confidence in the Turkish economy and its potential for growth in the automotive sector. The move could potentially strengthen the partnership between Turkey and China, further deepening their economic ties. BYD's expansion in Turkey is a significant development in the global automotive industry. It is a clear indicator of the growing influence of Chinese companies in the EV market and their ambition to become global leaders. BYD's success in Turkey will be closely watched by industry experts and analysts. It will be a test case for their strategy of global expansion and their ability to navigate trade barriers. The move could have a major impact on the future of the EV market and the global automotive industry. The construction of the new factory in Turkey is expected to be a major undertaking. It will involve significant investment and a large workforce. BYD will need to ensure that the factory is built on time and within budget. They will also need to establish a strong local supply chain and skilled workforce. The success of the project will depend on BYD's ability to effectively manage these challenges. The factory in Turkey will be a showcase for BYD's capabilities and ambitions. It will be a test of their commitment to the European market and their ability to compete with established players. The success of the factory will depend on a variety of factors, including the demand for EVs in Europe, the competitive landscape, and BYD's ability to overcome any potential challenges.
All right, I'm gonna just stop it right there. So let's face it. BYD is, and this is what the big three, this is what President Biden, this is what the United States automotive industry is worried about. They want to take over the EV industry globally, putting up factories in very specific places to the point where these places that you can get these vehicles from them without having to worry about China tariffs and all these other situations, which will cause you to have to spend more money for these vehicles, which will override the whole big old brouhaha of making the China tariffs 100% and specifically speaking on the EV industry as it came into the United States from China. Now, I personally think that BYD is going to take over. I think BYD is going to have a major presence here in the United States. I foresee I foresee a lot of BYD dealerships popping up here in the States, because it's going to be a situation where the economy is not going to allow the government, as much as they try, to stop BYD from bringing their vehicles over. They sell a fantastic product. There was a Governor Gavin Newsom of California did a presentation with BYD looking at the vehicles, demonstration, walked around talking about how fantastic work, and he talked about how fantastic they would be for California, specifically because California is a place that wants to get rid of gas powered vehicles by, I think the last statement was 2029. Originally it was 2025, but that ain't gonna happen. So California is dead set on turning into an EV state. And you think they're going to not use one of the most popular EV vehicles around in the world? That's not going to stop them. BYD has already got the endorsement from California, and this whole brouhaha of China tariffs and 100% and all those things, it's just going to come down to a situation where the government is not going to be able to stop products from Turkey, from all these other places that can come over to the United States, so that BYD can take over a big percentage of the market share in the automotive industry, specifically when it comes to EV vehicles. it's going to be impossible. They are building factories all over the world. They're doing a complete global outreach because they want to take over the world, and the United States is a big part of that. So they're doing everything in their power to deal with the China tariffs, deal with every roadblock that the United States puts up to stop them from selling vehicles in the United States. They've conquered, got over, and they continue to do so. So let's keep moving. So I didn't plan to throw this in, but my favorite, how do I want to say this? My favorite punching bag, as it were, Fisker is still going through major problems. So last time I checked, Fisker is filed for bankruptcy. I don't think we did a story about it. We were kind of tired of kicking them while they were down. The owner of Fisker, to keep the bankruptcy case open, decided that he was going to cut his pay down to $1 so that everything would keep moving forward. Also another thing that happened with Fisker, as part of the bankruptcy, they asked that their vehicles be sold at a cheaper price so they can offload them to a rental company. I think say like $12,000 each ocean, and so they petitioned the court to allow them to drop the MSRP standard price of the Fisker so they can unload a massive amount of these oceans to a rental company like Enterprise. So if that happens, then somewhere, I think it was in New York, somewhere on the East Coast, wherever this is, you guys gonna be, if you into the Ubers and the Lyfts and the taxis, you guys gonna be riding around a lot of oceans. Okay? But also, if that isn't enough, they came out with another recall.
In bankruptcy, Fisker recalls every car in the U.S. This recall includes a mandatory sales stoppage due to questionable parts and service availability. It's official, every Fisker Ocean sold in the U.S. is being recalled. Fisker issued a recall and halted sales of all 2023 Fisker Oceans produced through May, when Magna officially stopped production, due to door handles that can stick and prevent passengers from opening the door to enter or exit the vehicle. With Fisker currently in bankruptcy proceedings that will likely result in liquidation, the timing is perfect. Fisker bankruptcy leaves owners in electric car purgatory. After some fairly questionable business decisions and a year of producing its flagship Ocean SUV, Fisker filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection earlier this month. Owners are now scrambling to find ways to repair their vehicles, while parts are becoming increasingly scarce, and the future of the car's buggy software is unknown. Fisker says the issue is caused by a dimensional variation in the size of the door handles. Out-of-spec door handles can experience additional friction and not provide enough pulling force. The automaker estimates that about 3% of the 8,000 to 100 for Oceans produced and sold in the U.S. are affected. From the Fisker recall notice. On certain vehicles, the exterior door handles can stick, preventing customers from entering or exiting. After conducting a thorough investigation, Fisker Engineering has identified this as a potential safety issue. This issue is particularly significant in scenarios where the vehicle cannot be exited, most likely due to a malfunctioning door mechanism. Service technicians can use special tools to test whether a vehicle is affected, and if so, the Fisker Technical Service Bulletin calls for the defective door handle to be replaced. This is Fisker's second recall in less than a month. Fisker recently recalled all Oshas due to a powertrain module that could mistakenly enter a protection mode and cause a loss of power. The fix is simply a software update, which is much easier to implement than a hardware fix, given Fisker's current financial situation. Fisker is also in a bind, as it is stuck with several thousand Ocean units that it cannot sell until it fixes the affected cars, or they are validated as not affected by the recall. The automaker has been selling off its cars to clear its remaining inventory, but now those cars can't be delivered to customers until they are repaired. What's unclear is what will happen to owners affected by the recall if Fisker closes its doors. During the 2008 financial crisis, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said that even filing for bankruptcy would not relieve automakers of their obligation to recall defective vehicles. However, unlike GM, which handled the recall of the Pontiac and Saturn brands it closed in 2010, Fisker is not tied to a larger parent company.
I really feel bad for those Fisker Ocean owners that enjoy their Fisker Oceans. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when the company will complete bankruptcy and go under, and then it'll be another situation like the Saturn where there won't be any Saturn dealerships around so you can get your vehicles repaired. And of course, this is an electrical vehicle, so it's not going to be a situation where you can call Jimmy down at the shop down the street to get your vehicle fixed. So it's going to be a very, very difficult situation for Fisker owners. And that's who I feel bad for mostly. It's just a bad beat. I mean, you come into this industry trying to innovate, trying to, bring into something new. And the Fisker Ocean is a vehicle that is good, but it just needs some work. It's what I always say. These vehicles need the research and development that will help them to last in this industry. Specifically the big three, a lot of companies don't spend the proper amount of time doing research and development. It's one of my biggest things. And with these EV vehicles, just like everything else, is just get to it quick. Let's figure it out quick. Let's get it out quick. Let's get it to the point where we're making money from it. And that's not how Stanley was in the automotive industry. Stanley in the automotive industry, you want to make sure that the customer was safe. You want to make sure you were giving them a good product. And it's just a situation where research and development and making sure that things are going to last some extended period of time has just fell down to the wayside as capitalism grew. Let's face it. So it's not unusual. We should not be surprised. We do feel sorry for Fisker. We definitely feel sorry for Fisker owners because there are going to be the people that are really, really affected by this. Really, really affected. All right, so last but not least, we are back on the Shawn Fain train. Okay? Shawn Fain, UAW president. We've done a lot of stories about him. And one particular story we did not that long ago was about him demoting his vice president. Well, now there's a story on kind of why he did that, because we didn't really know at the time. He was saying he talked about how he was demoting him and talked about how there was some young lady that was going to be doing some of the work that he was supposed to be doing. But now we find out that the reason he was demoted was for some shiesty reasons. Let's check it out.
Fight you really do not need.
Strong words from auto analyst John McElroy, commenting on Monday's report by a federal monitor overseeing the UAW and now very critical of UAW President Shawn Fain.
There's clearly a lot of infighting at the top of the union.
The recent report summarizes the first 3 years of the monitor's investigative work, but says there's been a recent lapse in the UAW cooperation with the monitor.
You've got the president of the union, Shawn Fain, fighting with his secretary-treasurer. You've also got him fighting with the vice president who was in charge of Stellantis. So yeah, there's turmoil at the top.
First, the secretary-treasurer is Margaret Mock, who alleges Fain removed her authority for her refusal to authorize certain expenditures to benefit the president's office, yet no specifics in the report.
Fain came in on a whole new clean slate, but there's a lot of people who were there for a long time that aren't exactly on board with what he's trying to do.
Same, according to the monitor's report, with Rich Boyer, the vice president for Stellantis. His duties removed and placed under Shawn Fain's control. Is Fain dirty?
I don't think Fain's dirty. I don't. I don't think we got the full story of what's really going on here. But this is a danger for the UAW, because if Shawn Fain was caught violating the consent decree, potentially the Justice Department could take over the union.
But in a statement to Fox 2, UAW President Shawn Fain says he's taking the union in a new direction, and that means sometimes you have to rock the boat. He said, "We encourage the monitor to investigate whatever claims are brought to their office, because we know what they'll find: a UAW leadership committed to serving the membership and running a democratic union."
You think this is going to stop them from organizing?
I don't know if it'll stop them from organizing, but it's going to hurt their effort.
Oh, and according to the monitor, he opened an unrelated investigation into an unnamed regional director over allegations of potential embezzlement. Stay tuned. In Farmington Hills, Charlie Langton, Fox 2 News.
All right, so we're going to roll over to automotive news and check out these young gentlemen. They're going to give us a better idea of what's going on. It's a little bit more shiesty.
Monitor Neil Borofsky was investigating Union President Shawn Fain related to his decision to strip a couple of vice presidents of some key responsibilities. Now we have some new details about what Borofsky is concerned about.
That's right. This is all going through the monitor's office, and he has to report a lot of what's happening through court documents. And the latest motion that he filed included some communication between Vice President Rich Boyer, the former head of the Stellantis department, and Shawn Fain. And in those communications, Rich Boyer is alleging that Shawn Fain retaliated against him and took away the Stellantis department because he refused to engage in acts that would have benefited Shawn Fain's domestic partner and her sister. Now, we know that Shawn Fain is engaged, and the person he is engaged to works at the Chrysler National Training Center, and that he used to work there before he was president. We don't know specifically what he was allegedly asking Rich Boyer to do. That wasn't detailed, but it's the latest sort of understanding that we have about how all these actions took place. Shawn Fain has maintained that he did this not for that reason, that he did this because he felt there was a dereliction of duty on Rich Boyer's part, and that it falls within his responsibilities as president, that he has the right to change assignments, and that there's nothing improper here, but ultimately that's for the monitor to decide.
Yeah, it's a pretty explosive allegation, even if it's not terribly detailed. Shawn Fain ran as a reformer after the scandal that brought down dozens of people, including 2 previous UAW presidents. No, it's still early, but I mean, these seem like the kind of allegations that are at the very least inconsistent with his image and might hurt, his re-election chances.
It's definitely a black eye for the union, especially, I wouldn't even say for his re-election chances, I would say for the union's efforts to organize in the South. We've already seen anti-union groups use this as fresh chum in their attacks on radio, on billboards, and things of that nature. So they're not letting this go. It's damaging the union. You have to wonder what some of the workers who are on the fence at plants owned by Toyota or other companies, when they see these headlines, say, well, do I really want to be a part of that? Do I really want to be a part of that drama? And we should be clear here. Again, these are unfounded allegations at this point. We don't know what is or is not true. We'll say nepotism within the union it is not a new thing. It's something that has sort of plagued that organization at the highest ranks well before Shawn Fain, and likely even after Shawn Fain. So it wouldn't necessarily be something new if he was indeed trying to help out, someone who will soon become family. But again, that's ultimately for the monitor to decide if it was improper.
All right, so it's it's amazing how majority of this week was spent speaking on nepotism, talking about LeBron James and Bronny James and LeBron and all he did to get Bronny James his position over with the Lakers, and to see this soon a situation where it seems like Sean Fain was trying to use nepotism to help out his soon-to-be wife and her sister. But the real problem is that when he tried to use nepotism, and the nepotism that he was trying to use wasn't accepted by Rich Boyer or wasn't accepted by something the problem would be if he used his power against somebody who didn't help him with the situation of nepotism for his soon-to-be wife and her sister. And of course, like he said, nobody wants drama. This is not. There's already way too much drama when it comes into the automotive industry. It's way too much drama when it comes to the big three: Chrysler, Stellantis. GM's jumping ship everywhere. Executives calling it quits for no reason. This is just a black eye, a problem that not only Fain, the UAW, the big three, Chrysler, because that's where she works. Nobody needs this black eye. Nobody needs this drama now. It's just, really, it's just par for the course in the world we're living in right now. It's everywhere we look, we see this. Everywhere, every time we open our eyes, we see somebody doing something that is, and mind you, this is speculation. There's no proof of anything yet, so we're just speculating. But it's just a lot of negativity, a lot of situations where accusing people of doing wrong in the world we're living today, specifically in the automotive industry. And we all kind of knew Fain was wishy-washy. The way he handled the UAW proceedings. I really should have did a lot more investigation when we did the story on Richard Boyer and his demotion, because that's what we're talking about, a situation where he used his power to take power from Rich Boyer. Now, it is his ability to do that, but it's in his ability to do that. But if he did it for malice reasons, it's definitely not a good thing. And we do not abide by that. So, hopefully it's just speculation. Hopefully it's not a big deal, because we just do not need this in the automotive industry. And it just pushes us back. We need as much unity as the UAW and all the big three and all of the United States automakers can get together, because China is coming. All right, my friends, this is your boy Chris C. Pup Surratt. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Send me subjects you'd like us to talk about. And I'm out. Peace.